I was asked to talk about lessons from my success and my failure, because indeed we have all failed, and I've had my fair share of failing. Right, this is the next, is it? Is the other one? So I've certainly, gone through that whole phase of failing, and I've learned my lessons. And today I'm going to share with you how and why I've gone through the phases that I've gone through. My backstory is, when you look at this picture, you see a truck, an old dilapidated truck, normally carrying sand, carrying bricks, carrying all sorts of stuff, aggregates and so on. And you normally see young men that look very hungry in the back of that truck, and full of dust. And when you look at the other picture on the top, you see a wilted, very desperate crop. And that's me. I've gone through this. I've gone through the phase where I was running a trucking business, doing the sand, the bricks, and so on. It was a very difficult time, because it was never easy. It had its own fair share of failure, and the first big lesson that I learned on failure was when I thought I was going to be a very successful farmer, and I went and did this crop, maize. I invested a lot of money. I remortgaged my house, and planted, hired tractors, hired planters, and so on. And what happened? A disaster happened. So you can imagine a situation where I'm a 30-year-old with a young family of 8 children, and my widowed mother to look after. We had now become part of my household, and my little house in Marborane is about to be taken because of a debt that I accrued because of that maize crop. At the same time, I had left employment. I was working for Intermarket. Mr. Winkrai knows that. And I had left employment telling my colleagues, I'm going to be one of the successful farmers in this country. And I left, and then I went. And this maize crop of mine became a total failure. We all know very well what happened in 1992. I've been farming for 32 years. 1992, there was the worst drought in this country. And where I thought I was going to be smiling all the way to the bank, I was then smiling, or rather crying all the way to the bank to try and reschedule that loan. So I'll talk about my failures. And the brief overview is I'm going to talk about how I failed, why I failed. I'll also share my successes and the lessons that I learned thereof. And certainly, I'm going to be talking about my family and friends, because they've been part of my journey in succeeding and in failing. So the trending stories that we all know about is about Securico doing very well, about our ISO certification, about Zvikomborero Farms doing very well, reading about Divine Ndhlukula, winning this and the other awards. But a lot of people don't know and don't understand the kind of trials and tribulations I've had to go through to perhaps attain what I think is just a small level of success that I've achieved so far. We know the story that Securico is. We know how it started. It is actually known as a fairy story, punctuated with a string of successes over the last 25 years. We just celebrated our 25 years last year. And it started from absolutely nothing. But one young woman who was very ambitious, who was very headstrong, and with just red hot burning passion and desire to make it in this very hard-nosed business world. And the kind of prejudice and ridicule that I endured when I started out is something that I had not anticipated. It was good enough to have asked me to go back to the drawing board or just go back to work. But I did not stop. I went forward. So one of our highlights was attaining ISO 9001, being the first security company to have done that. This was 2005, if I'm not mistaken. And it was really for us a turning point because everyone started waking up to the smell of coffee. And for some of those that would have said to me at the time that I would knock on their doors, they would say, no, we don't deal with jokers. All of a sudden, they turned their heads and started wanting to open their doors and speak to us. So from an underdog to something, that's where the journey really began of understanding what I learned through my failure journey. And why did we succeed, particularly when we attained ISO 9000? It was because companies were now waking up to the issues of sustainability, ESG. I think we talk about ESG a lot in our companies now. From there on, colleagues, things just turned around. We started getting a lot of key accounts and the multinationals, the NGOs, and so on. So from being the first company to achieve that, the road was made easy. And I often tell people that there is no easy road to anywhere worth going. We had to work hard to attain ISO 9000. We had to be spending all our weekends after hours and part of our public holidays, really trying to build a system that then got us to attain that international certification. It was demanding, but certainly I think that was really the turning point for us. And then, of course, trending stories, Africa Award for Entrepreneurship. Many other stories emerged that we often read about. And I won Africa Award for Entrepreneurship that was run by Omidia Network and Legatam Institute should have been in 2011. It came with a $100,000 prize, US dollar, of course. And it was a total surprise for us because we were pitted against companies that were from Nigeria, from Kenya, and we were the only company that was coming from the goddamn Zimbabwe, whose economy was always talk of the world in terms of it's falling apart. So they thought. And so we were just glad that we had made it as the 10 finalists to be adjudged to come up with number one from the original 3,000 companies that had participated in this particular award. So when the final 10 companies met in Nairobi, then we spent a few 2-3 days with people like Richard Branson, learning about running business, Tony Olimelu and others. And my colleague and I were contented just being there and just having made it to the top 10. Because what the Nigerians and mainly the Nigerians, they are very pompous. What they were talking, what they were saying, really we say to ourselves, we are not worth being here. Because they were talking about their businesses and that they were the ones going to win. But lo and behold, who won on the gala night, we announced the winner, the final winner, by the organizers. And it was one moment in my life that I realized that we were now going the places. And from the struggles and from being there and just winning, just being announced the winner. If I can we play this?
2011 ended on a high note when Securico was named the grand prize winner in the prestigious Africa Awards for Entrepreneurship, beating 3,300 entrants from 48 countries on the African continent.
Let me say a few words about our grand prize winner. The final company that we're recognizing tonight, a $100,000 prize. On a night marked by remarkable businesses led by incredible people, this company was selected by a judging panel for more than just its outstanding business plan, and for more than just its outstanding and enviable success. It's a company that's founded, living and growing not only on innovation, but also on the recognition that sometimes For a business to succeed, it must redefine the very workforce. When other businesses said, "No, you can't," this one simply said, "Just watch us." It's a company marked by exemplary corporate governance, a company which, with a tenacity and the spirit to survive and to thrive, but also to empower hundreds of employees who often found themselves marginalized or deemed not right for the job. It's a company that symbolizes not only success now, but promises more of the same in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's grand prize winner, a $13 million business founded at the kitchen table, defines not only innovation and inspiration, but embodies the first best hope for the future of Africa. Our grand prize winner for tonight, the grand prize winner of the 2011 Africa Awards for Entrepreneurship, is from Harare, Zimbabwe, Securico, and our 2011
So this award definitely put us on the world map as a force to reckon with. In particular, that we're coming from Zimbabwe. Talking to the judges after this, because we never expected to come out as the winner. We wanted to know why they chose us, given what our colleagues from Nigeria were saying, and the long and short, the people that are judging, including McKinsey and so on, is that they were not just looking at profitability and size, but they were looking on issues around sustainability, impact, innovation, staff development, business growth, integrity. Integrity, as Vajo was saying, was one of the things that they also looked at. It is basically the same thing with the two major awards that I have won, the EY, World Entrepreneur for Southern Africa, and the Business Excellence. These look not just at the financial performance, but they look at inspiration. I'm sure you heard the guy who was announcing is inspiration. They look at risk. They simply look for people with integrity. And I'll continue underlying integrity because it has played a very critical role in my success. And with a sustained record of excellence, and that have made an impact in the society that they work in. So basically, we all know integrity is the elephant in the room, and I'm glad Mr. Jo really honed home about that. So what contributed to this success? I think as the judges were saying, or these awards were saying, it is about the tough environment in Zimbabwe that they looked at, and all these issues that I've talked about. And the impact for me has been that I've fought for the acceptance of women in the security sector, because before they could not be employed, but I had to convince a lot of those that felt that it was not a world for women. And we have literally changed the face of the industry because women are now capable, or looked as capable, security practitioners. And we have brought professionalism in the industry because ISO certification was never something considered a necessity in the security industry. But for us, it was the thing to have, and it is now a thing to have, because most of our colleagues in the industry have gone on to get certified as well. So why and how have I succeeded? I think for me, is the value proposition, is the internal, and I always underline internal. Our internal customers are very important. I've endeavored that I engage my team members. We select carefully, we develop them, we give them a sense of belonging, and our vision, which to a large extent we have lived, we just don't talk about it, we have lived it, is that we want to be world class. And we always endeavor in anything and everything we do that we want to be world class. And that we have really tried to achieve. What we call the Securico way, we try to always put our best foot forward. And these are the areas for me that have also been quite critical in changing the narrative of my failure into success. What we do is we craft our strategy at the beginning of each year, and it becomes our daily bread and butter. We just don't have credence away in terms of our strategy. It is our bread and butter. We walk, we eat, we sleep, we dream. Basically, our strategy, our plan every day. We evaluate ourselves every month and see if we are falling behind, what we need to correct, what we need to do, what we need to refine. And we do it all the time. So it is action, action, and more action, both at Securico and at Zvikomborero, another business that I run. So we have got this culture of ensuring that we deliver to what we have planned right from the beginning. So key to attaining growth for me is the growth and the profitability. The key to attaining growth and profitability for me lies in finding good people, smart people, and sharing the vision to an extent where they can almost articulate it to outsiders, even if they are coming out of a sleep. So for me, that has been very important. The people, the team that I work and work with. And we do this systematically and relentlessly all the time. We empower with knowledge, with skills. We give the sense of belonging. And we motivate through the various means. Gloria, my chairman, is here. She knows. We ask her to come in and just hand out prizes almost all the time because we believe that this is what makes us who we are, the Securico way. How do we keep people engaged? We make it worth the while for the performers. When we run incentive schemes, it should be worth people's while. It should not just be a wishy-washy or a token, but it should be worth the while. We have made differences in people's lives. People came in with literally nothing, and they had just their A-level, but we took them through leadership programs. They went through universities, their MBAs, they are now owning homes. Their children have been educated through our bursary funds at universities and so on. So we make it worthwhile for people to be within our team. So for me, it is what we call the Securico way. Continuing with why and how. I've already talked about one of the major failures, and that almost rendered me bankrupt in my early 30s. Because I was naive. I was overambitious. I was more of an idealist who naively thought farming was planting maize, putting a lot of fertilizer, it rains, and voila, I've got a lot of money in the bank. But it did not happen. I had to be crying all the way to the bank to negotiate that they don't sell my house. So naivety, not understanding where I'm supposed to, the lack of mentorship, because some of us of our generation, we hardly had mentors that could shorten the learning curve. When I look at the young people today, I always say, I don't see how any young person can fail today because there are so many role models, there are so many mentors, there are so many opportunities. Some of us, the generation of my generation, we did not have that many. In fact, we hardly had any mentors. I only got to have mentors because I read a lot. I used to love reading from a very tender age, and I could relate with the mentors that I could read about, whether they were in the UK, Vana Margaret Thatcher, Vanani. That's the mentors that we got to learn from. So when I continue with the lessons, what did I learn? The lessons that I have learned is that from both my success and from my failure, from the discussed failures, the lesson that I learned was that I did not do enough homework. I did not confer with veterans in the industry. If I had known, I should have sat down with people that had been farming for years and to say, what should I do? I've got this piece of land and I don't know what I should do. I would have been told, don't crop because it's natural region 3B. It's not good for cropping if you don't have your own water. But I didn't do that. I didn't convey. That was a mistake. That's a lesson that I learned. And I went on to invest large sums of money into a crop that rendered me almost bankrupt. I paid my school fees and I paid dearly. I also learned risk management. I also learned resilience. I'm now very self-aware of my strengths and my weaknesses, and I'm leveraging, and I've leveraged on them when I went back to the drawing board. On the other hand, on success, I've learned that no one attains success cheaply. It does not come cheap. If you want to move from good to great, you need just to work harder. You need to work longer hours than others. You put 20 people in a room with me, and I can tell you that I can outwork those people. Success is a journey, and it's not a marathon. As I thought, because I thought I was going to be going into a marathon. I thought in one season I was going to make so much money. And I was going back to Intermarket and tell my colleagues, look, the car I'm driving. I was still young. Look, the way I'm now living. But because I thought it was a marathon, it is a journey. It's just as you are climbing a mountain. You don't go to the peak of the mountain by going, you go like that. And you rest along the way. You perhaps need to go back and collect more water to, and so on. So I prepare every day to go the extra mile. I make the extra call. I have the extra meeting. And I've seen that is the only way that has taken me from being ordinary to super great. I've never expected to free myself from working. That's even up to this day. And I will never just wish for things. I always say, I don't want anything for free. I have never gotten anything for free from anybody because I've believed that I work for my own. And this is why if somebody steals from me, I don't take it kindly. I become very ruthless if somebody steals even a small thing because I don't steal from anybody. I've always said I'll work for myself. I'll work for the things that I have in my life. And trust me, I've never taken anything from anybody. I've never stolen anything from anybody, and I'm very proud of that feat. So I don't wish. I just need to go out and work. It's like I've got to go out and fish and get what I want myself. So hard work and attitude have helped me. Nothing beats that. So on other lessons that I've learned that being authentic, humility are very key. I've remained myself despite the highs and despite the lows. I often say to people, be nice. It is that simple. Because no one wants to work for someone or with someone who isn't. It is that simple. I've seen that there are people who have got a lot of heirs, and they think if they've succeeded, they sort of start, showing that we are here, we've arrived. And they can literally walk on people's heads. It does not work. People are not going to do business with you, trust me. I'm almost done, Dara. And for me, let me also take this opportunity to say that success should never be just measured by our success in business or our professional undertakings, but our personal lives, as they play a key role. For me personally, family is everything. One success measure I always want to think about is my family and my personal life. I must say, when I was growing up, I was kind of a rebel. I not in that bad sense, but in the 70s, a girl was not supposed to climb trees. You had to conform. You could not be seen to be overly ambitious. You should not be too talkative. You should not sit where the men are discussing things, pachivara. You should be good at housework. You must consider starting a family early, but I was just opposite of all that. I never saw life like that. I even insisted to learn driving at 16 in the rural areas, you can imagine. And I was very clear that where I wanted to be is I loved to read a lot, and I learned about people that I read about, and I was aspiring to be those people. So my environment in the rural area I never thought, I said, I want to go beyond where I am. So I was fortunate that my father saw brightness in me and gave me the open check to be what I wanted and encouraged me to dream big. He even would tell people that my daughter is going to be the one looking after the family when I'm gone. Indeed, my father died at 49, but never got to see what I became. The businesses that he left were bankrupted by my brother a few years thereafter. I was only 22 when he died, and he had just become a single mother. I was working for Old Mutual as an accounting officer then, and had to pick up the pieces to ensure that my little brothers, my sisters, and so on, that were behind me had to finish school and college. In my late 30s, I went on to lose my sister. We had 2 kids, my brother, we had 2 kids. And I stand proudly to say that my young sister and I raised the 8 children on our own. And they've all gone on to finish university, 3 in South Africa and 5 in Australia. All of them, except 2 of them, have started their families, and they're doing very well in their own careers and businesses. But my father switch indeed came to pass, but he never got to see it. I eventually got married to my late husband, Ndhlukula, who was a gentleman of all time, I must say. But I must also say again, my partner currently, I've known since 2018, is a good gentleman as well. And they say professors don't own much in material things except bicycles. He loves his bicycle, and I'm very content and happy with that. I've kept my family, the family of my late parents, including extended family, very closely knit, and we support each other through thick and thin. Ubuntu, as Vash always has stated before. However, done that, I had to make my leadership role, I had to take that leadership role seriously, despite not being the eldest in the family. I at times had to rule with an iron fist. I had 8 children who were teenagers at some stage in one roof, and I had to be very strong. So colleagues, I always say, success is not final, and neither is failure. I think we know this as Winston Churchill said. It is courage to continue. Success and failure are intertwined. Failure is not the opposite of success, but a part of it. Indeed, it is important to learn from both success and failure. I became more resilient and can quickly adapt to new ways of doing things. I also learned to be self-aware of my capabilities, and I've learned not just to learn, I've also learned from my subordinates. And I've also learned to take time to reflect. Strategic planning and risk management are areas I've become very good at over the years through the highs and lows. And most importantly, I'm a lifelong learner. I know that growth and progress come from embracing challenges. I take everything in my strides as we meet challenges in our kind of economy in Zimbabwe, and in particular the industries that I work in. Agribusiness and security are not easy industries. And I always know that if plan A has not worked, I've got plan B. If need be, I'll go to plan C and D. I'll challenge you as I conclude to continue dreaming, especially the young people that are here. And this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt says, "The future belongs to those that believe in the beauty of their dreams." In conclusion, as already said, family and friends are not just a personal aspect of my life, but a vital component of my business life and my failure life as well, my business life success and failure. In my failures, in my successes, my family and friends have been the support system that have provided and still provide unwavering support, emotional stability, helping me navigate challenges and celebrate milestones. In picture here, I'll just share with you briefly what I'm talking about when I talk about the importance of my family. There is my mother when almost 1.5 years before she passed on in the middle. Those are my siblings. 2 of them had already passed on here. In this picture here, is one of my sisters' 60th birthday. Is us, my other 3 sisters, and our daughters. And that's us as well with our sons, all our sons. We made, that was in December last year. My sister in the picture here was turning 60, and all our kids from all over, from the States, from South Africa, from Australia, from England, came, and we always do that every December. These are my grandkids who are now my best friends. These are the people that really give me the reason why I should continue working and being young and feel young, despite that some people look at me as, Trevor was saying, where is he? Divine behaves like she's 18 when it comes to this and that. But but those are my best friends. My grandkids, the two girls, they are my grandkids. The others are my nieces and my grandkids from my sisters. And I'm glad that our children have produced mainly girls, except one boy, as you can see. So I'm in so much safe space, and I'm so happy with this arrangement. And and because I've got all these guys. I have friends as well. This was my 60th with some friends and family when we out somewhere. And those are my friends. We're also out somewhere. Friends are part of my life. I believe at this age, if you do not have friends that you are hobnobbing with all the time, I don't know what will happen when you are my age. People will run away from you. But if you have friends, they will never be running away. And finally, my community, I work in a community. I enjoy working with the girls in the community where I was born, and communities everywhere else where we have been planting trees. Education for girls, for me, is one of my focus areas when it comes to my community engagements. And I do it with so much diligence and gusto that it has become my life.
What an amazing person you are. You have written this book, Entrepreneurial Success, which you invited me to the launch. You say something here which, and seeing that Wazukuru, your Wazukurus are girls. You say being a woman can be hard. Being a female business owner is even harder. I mean, as you sit here thinking of your Wazukuru, your experiences, are you in a space where you get a sense your Wazukurus are going to have a better experience than you? If not, why?
I'm almost 100% sure that they are going to have a much better experience, because they not only are they learning from me, they've also been learning from their parents. We have also learned from them. So they've got that two-layer education that they are getting from their parents. And they are now in situations where my smallest grandkid there, she's 9. She's already learned coding. She does coding. So they are in a much, much better space than my generation. And I always say to them, what I've achieved in the space that I've achieved, you should be able to do 3 times that. That's my challenge to all of them. You should achieve 3 times what I've done, because your learning curve is this, and the base is there anyway.
Nyasha showed us that picture of mother with a kid at the back and another one walking. You are giving us here a wholesome family a picture rather of a family. Are we getting this, or are we getting it completely wrong, like Nyasha is saying? The family is falling apart, and when a family falls apart, society falls apart. What's your sense, and what should we be doing?
Well, if family is falling apart, certainly the world is falling apart. There's no question about it. And this is for me, I've always said, when I work, some people have said, Divine, it's amazing that you educated 8 children that are not, I've got 1 biological child. And they said, you educated 8 kids that all went to private schools in Zimbabwe. They went to universities in Australia and South Africa. If I were you, I would have used that money to be doing what I would be, enjoy my life. But I said, no. If we are a people, even white people, by the way, it's just not us as black people. Even white people look after each other. And I've said, man is a means to an end. What is the end? The end is your family. The end is the happiness of your family. And your family is just not you and your nuclear family. I don't believe in nuclear family. And each time, I think when you see my book, when they talk about 8 children, I didn't bear 8 children, but I raised 8 children. And they are my children. So for me, it is about, because if I had not done that for all these children, for my brother and for my sisters, where would they be? They will still be coming to me. Okay, some people say I ignore them. I mean, I've got friends who are in that space. But I find that their life is half empty or half full.
Tell me, regarding this book, what is the one thing that you would want people to get from this book? What's the one message that you wanted people to get from this book? By the way, congratulations for writing a book. All of us around this room, including myself, should be writing books. And I'm delighted that we're seeing lots of books coming out. Dr. Olivia Mchena, Teve Kalafeng yesterday, his book is out. What is the one thing that you want us to pick up from this?
I think for me, the most important lesson, this is why I encourage people, it's the ages of people that I see here to read this book. Why? Because for me, it is building the next generation of leaders in Africa, business leaders, with ethics, with integrity, and that are going to run their businesses, not just for themselves, but for posterity, into beyond them and beyond their children. For me, it is really looking at the future lead of Africa, because Africa, we have always been seen in a light that we are not going anywhere. But certainly there is so much for us to be going to. And if the young leaders, business leaders of today can really grasp some of the concepts and insights that are shared in there, I tell you, because I've heard the feedback from those that have read, the young people, and they've said, this is now my manual. Because they now say, what is it that I cannot understand about going into the future as a business leader? There's everything that I can now understand. So it is about building the next capable business leader in Africa who knows what has to be done and what is not to be done.
Any questions for Divine from the room so that I don't... Madame Jo, you're not related to Nyasha, hey?
Thank you so much, Trevor, and thank you so much, Mama Divine, for that presentation. I was looking on your slides. You put the formula for success, and you say something about attitude plus hard work equals to success. But when I tie that to what Trevor read, there is that you say it's difficult to actually be a female.
I'll read it again. Being a woman can be hard. Being a female business owner is even harder.
Yes, so I have then kept on thinking, and as you were presenting, I had to make an extra call. I had to walk an extra mile. And I'm taking it that it's also tied to the fact that you are a woman, and it's exactly what you are describing there. And I'm glad I'm going to come after you just to plead for many other women who are not exceptions like you, where we want to move to having it as a norm to have successful business women in Zimbabwe, in Southern Africa, and global. So I'm just thinking in terms of this formula you've given us, because in the end we're given a narrative that when someone has not made it, they are lazy, they are not ambitious. This is why they fall, this is why they have not reason. But when we are then explaining, it shows there is some support system of some, so there's something that has to happen elsewhere to get to this equation of attitude and just hard work, because there are not as many women who are rebels than you are. Many things that you are. So what is it? What are the other things that fellow business people, the private sector and others also have done for you to be where you are?
Yeah, so for me, when I talk about attitudes, I talk about self-belief. You need to believe in yourself, first and foremost. It's the 99% battle that I always say you have won by believing. Your mindset should tell you, I'm getting there. Come rain, come thunder. I'm what? I'm getting there. That attitude is the momentum that you need. It's like a steam train. It's the momentum that you need. That steam train cannot be stopped once it has started going. It starts going. So you need to believe in yourself. And asking about what is other people done for you, I've read a lot of support from people. This is why I always say, be nice. It is that simple. Because if you're nice, trust me, people want to do business with you. If you're nasty, people don't want to do business with you. I've seen people fall from way up there because they were not nice. That's just simple being nice to other people. You can fall.
Taurai, you had a hand up, am I right? Shall we give a mic to Taurai? And there's another hand. What's that? Yeah?
Thank you, man, for that presentation. I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, how do you manage the emotional impact of failure on your team and on yourself? Case in mind, let's say you're involved in a 2 million cash-based trade. How would you, for example, deal with that? Second question is on success, managing success. Is that people? Sometimes you end up way faster than what you prepared and planned for. How do you help us to manage success?
Okay, how do you manage success? I think you just need to continue being humble. You need to be grounded. Because if you are not grounded, you get carried away and start doing things that will take you back. And as for how do I manage crisis, a haste happened to us. I think some of you saw, it was in the social media in 2022. 90,000 of Standard Chartered Bank money was taken away from us when we were going to replenish an ATM at Newlands Shopping Center. How did we manage it? In particular, my team. For my team, because we go through these things where we have situations that are really, that can really demoralize people and demotivate people. For me, immediately, because I don't lose my cool on such things, I don't lose my cool on anything. I simply just start immediately, real time, is that thing is happening. And as we hear that our money, the money has been taken, and, immediately I started instituting the measures. I congregate my team and I start rallying my team with this is nothing. And this is something that we are going to get out of, like yesterday. And we meet and we start planning the necessary plans. What do we need to do? We need to communicate with the clients, first and foremost, because that's key. Otherwise, we start losing business from all the customers that we move cash for. So we need, and I say in the next 12 hours, it happened at 10. I said in the next 12 hours, in fact 24 hours, because we should have communicated with each and every client. We distribute each other. I go to the most difficult one, physically, and we start talking, and we explain why that money had to go. The money had to go because we didn't want to lose people's lives. And you said that people understand. And this is the same thing that I then tell my team, we should not be worried. Because these things are things that will happen to anybody. And this is something that we're going to get out of this even better. And we start instituting what are the things that we need to do. In that very meeting, soon after this happened, about 30 minutes later, we are already discussing this. We are going to check, we are going to improve technology, someone is going to South Africa, a team is going to South Africa. Yes, it's happening there every day. We want to understand how they do it. A team is going to be ready to go in the next 2 days. And we start instituting everything that we'll have decided we are going to implement. And that gives the team confidence. And I remember very well, my sister is not like me. She's the opposite of me. She works with me in the business. When this happened, she spent 2 nights sleeping in her shoes. Because she could simply not. She was so distraught about it. There I am. That very day, the following day, I had a speaking engagement in Masvingo. And those people in Masvingo, they'd seen it on social media. They thought I was not coming. They saw me pitching up in Masvingo at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I was there speaking as if nothing happened. And the women were saying, but You are here, and we're saying this. And I said, so what?
What's your formula for doing that, Divine? What's your formula for doing that, being so different from your sister?
I don't know. I think the formula is that I've always looked at myself as somebody. When I was growing up, I thought this thing, I got it in Kingston. There was a picture called Kingston, which said, anything is possible if I believe. So I put that anywhere and everywhere I was. In my office, in my house, in my toilet, and I used to really continue putting it into my mind. And it got so ingrained that nothing changed. Anything is possible as long as I believe.
Wow. Yes, Mr. Ndhlukula?
Thank you very much, John. I would like to congratulate you for the journey that you've done for the business. My question is, how do you plan for the continuity of the business? I heard that you touched that your brother brought your father's business. What can you share with us that can prevent yours in the launch by your successors?
I think that's a very important question, Trevor.
Yes, absolutely.
My chairman is here. The time that we asked Gloria to come on our board, I remember it's 4 or 5 years ago. I said to her, one of the critical things that I really want you to do as the chairman of this board is to help me find successors of this business. That was, and even before she came, it had been something on my radar for a while. I go to this organization. I belong to this organization called the Women Presidents Organization. It's a global group, and most of the businesses in that organization, we are mature businesses. It's women that started up. It's for women that started up, generating revenues of beyond 20 million per annum. So we have got so much. And the one thing that I've always gone there to share, because we meet three times every year, is my succession. And they've helped me. The chairman here has helped us, and right now the path has been cleared. We are right on top of it. I don't know whether I should say this, chairman.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you shouldn't.
But succession planning is, we use the balance scorecard, the Norton and Kaplan balance scorecard, to implement our strategy. And one of the key things on the balance scorecard is people and growth, there is succession. We actually have got to rate people on succession. I was also being rated, and I realized that over the years I was failing. That is why it became my key issue, the KPI that I had to deliver more than anything else was that. And I'm just delivering it as we speak. So I rate others at whatever level, senior manager, middle manager, who is your successor? And so on go and leave, we want your successor to do the work. But for me, it had been work in progress for far too long. But I tell you right now, I'm smiling all the way to...
And you actually want to share it with us, because that's how excited you are.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Guys, already what a testimony in terms of the impact that you are having in society. Even Tyrone's own example about the business that you gave him. So Divine, thank you so much for coming. We know you're busy. And thank you so much for continuing to inspire the people. Congratulations for the book. And again, another amazing way of impacting people. Please, colleagues, join me in